We all know that old photographs remind us that the history of mankind is rich in secrets and long-forgotten facts. They show that the past can be connected to the present through invisible threads of time. Of particular interest are photos taken at the dawn of photography as art and technology. Today, you will see the rarest and most amazing photos taken many centuries ago. This photo shows the original Michelin Man presented in 1894. This symbol of the French tire company Michelin is a character in a tire rubber suit consisting of several layers. And there's nothing special, it's just a pilot of the British Air Force who gets a haircut before flying in 1942. Men in oxygen masks next to the Northwest Airlines plane, Boston, 1939. This photo shows the explosion of an atomic bomb during Operation Teapot at a nuclear test site in Nevada in 1955. The milkmen during the bombing of London in 1940. As you can see, all the bottles remained intact. Arnold Schwarzenegger at his first bodybuilding competition. He's only 16 here. It was taken in 1963. In 1969, in the Greyhound bus terminal in Los Angeles, it was possible not only to sit comfortably in an armchair, but also to watch TV. Half an hour of viewing cost 25 cents. And this is a kind of virtual reality of the 60s of the last century. You can witness those experimental TV glasses. In 1967, the pranksters replaced two O's in the word Hollywood with two E's. As you can guess, this word has two meanings, and it was a hint of marijuana. Looking at this photo made in 1962, it becomes clear why so many Americans are afraid of clowns. This is what the portable TV concept looked like in 1967. The very same can be said about the real legend of cinema, Marilyn Monroe. This photo was taken in 1953. And this is Helen Mirren in the role of Cleopatra from Shakespeare's tragedy Antony and Cleopatra. Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito during the filming of Gemini in 1988. Lauren Bacall is not as known as Marilyn Monroe. At the same time, she is also very beautiful. In 1953, these actresses were photographed together. This amazing house was designed by the Israeli-Canadian architect Moshe Safdie, especially for Expo 67 of the World Fair in Montreal in 1967. The Frenchman tried Coca-Cola for the first time. It seems that he is not enthusiastic about the popular American drink. The photo was taken in Paris in 1950. New York, 1931. A builder poses as if touching the top of the Chrysler Building during the construction of the Empire State Building. Removal of rails from the road on 3rd Avenue in Seattle, 1943. 3 workers dismantled the clock that hangs outside the office of the Daily Telegraph before the reconstruction of the building, London, 1930. British designer Benjamin Bowden demonstrates his Spacelander in 1946. This amazing transport has no analogs to this day. Canadian workers inspect ammunition that will be used by the British during the Second World War. Angry viewers tore the dress on the model after the Dior fashion show in 1947. I wonder what exactly made them so angry about this dress. And there's nothing unusual, just women boxing on the roof in Hollywood, 1938. This is how women dried their hair in distant 1930. Zen monks at the Asakusa Temple in Tokyo walked in gas masks as part of the exercises in 1936. It may seem that there is nothing unusual in this photo, just Navy pilots playing basketball. But the player in the jump on the left is the future President of the United States, Gerald Ford. The picture was taken in 1944. Moncel forts are armed towers built in the Thames and Mersey estuaries during the Second World War to protect the United Kingdom. They were used as army and naval forts and were named after their designer, Guy Moncel. September 1945. In 1937, for the baby to breathe fresh air while his mother was doing her business, he was placed in a grid that was hung out of the window. Excursion to General Motors in the early 60s of the last century. This is what the real Sausage Queen looked like in 1955. It was chosen during Hot Dog Week. The sponsor of the contest was the Zion Meat Company. This is the bathysphere of William Beebe, in which he plunged to a depth of 900 meters to explore the underwater world. At that time, in 1032, no one had ever reached such a depth. In the 70s of the last century, teenagers listened to music in this way. Now you can witness a collision of 2 trains, Ontario, 1892. Did you know that not only horses were harnessed, but also zebras in 1913? In this photo, you can witness how a woman lifts a Peel P50 car with one hand. It was taken in 1962. This is a British micromobile, which has gained fame as one of the smallest cars in the history of the automotive industry. Adolf Hitler inspects the Mercedes-Benz W154 Grand Prix in 1938. These are the wiretapping tools used by the Japanese during the Second World War. This is what Queen Elizabeth II looked like when she was only 21. Sir David Attenborough with his son Robert and Cotamundi, whom he bought in Guyana. Now let's move to 1976. Elton John in his private plane at the piano in a bar playing for his friends. This photo was taken in 1986. Halle Berry became Miss USA. These are schoolchildren of Havana in 1937, but one of them is Fidel Castro. He holds a lollipop. Jane Mansfield has achieved success on both Broadway and in Hollywood, but her beauty cannot overshadow the unsurpassed Monroe. A journalist from Moscow decided to interview a penguin. It was taken in 1966. This is a photo from 1942. A native of New Guinea escorts a wounded Australian soldier home. John Fitzgerald Kennedy is working on his speech during the presidential campaign of 1960. An Estonian boy made such a homemade bicycle in 1912. This photo was taken during the Great Depression in 1937 in Kentucky. In this photo, Swedish weightlifter Lennart Hoa Hoa is captured in a jump. A woman drinks from a street pump. It was taken in 1899. This is how Japanese women carried their babies in 1866. Try to guess what is being done with this woman. You won't believe it, they just curl her hair. This is how permanent styling was done in the 40s of the last century. A policeman takes part in uncle competitions in England. It was taken in 1930. Participants need to recognize their niece by her legs. And this is a competition for communication electricians and their climbing instructors, Michigan, 1918. This is how driving courses were held in 1945. During the Cold War in America, even women were taught how to handle weapons. Sometimes exercises were held on the beach. During the Vietnam War, American soldiers committed violence against local women. The US government hid these facts for a long time, but later admitted it. Now the Vietnam War is one of the darkest pages in American history. Transportation by water of a 139-year-old house in 1916. The Ohio building was a replica of the Ohio State Capitol building in Columbus without a dome and was designed by Dayton architect Albert Pretzinger. In 1897, Cambridge students opposed the fact that women studied with them. In protest, they made an effigy of a woman on a bicycle which symbolized gender equality and then burned it. This photo shows a student at the University of Madras. At that time, students often tied themselves with their hair to a special nail in the wall in order to not fall asleep. Doctors wore such masks in the 17th century during the plague epidemic. At the tip of this metal beak, there was a place that was filled with aromatic herbs and flowers. This was done to purify the inhaled air to prevent infection with the plague.